JT Smith for the TFON podcast here for season 5, episode 3. If you guys have been following the site, following what the Bearcats are doing, you know that Big 12 play is starting on Saturday, and they're playing Houston Cougars at Nippert Stadium. So what I did was I tapped into the Rivals Network and found my man Marc Henry of Cougars Den. Mark, how you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. Looking forward to it. So glad it's football season. We're kind of like, a quarter of the way through it. This is like Christmas, in early season for us guys that really like football and, entrenched in. Of course, we're in the state of Texas where football is king. So, the Cougars are back, coming off a big win over Rice. Got that Bayou Bucket back in the house. So, we're ready to kick this Big 12 playoff. Super excited about what Willie Fritz and, his staff has done, in a short period of time with the Cougars, and we're ready to go, man. And this is a big challenge going up to Cincy. It's a tough place to play. We've had a pretty competitive history with the Bearcats going back to the conference days of old. Some conference championships and some guys that are playing at the next level. So this should be a really good game. I'm really excited to talk about it. I appreciate you giving me some time, JT.
Oh, no problem at all, man. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of history. AAC championship games. Tank Dell. You got Sauce
Absolutely.
Gardner. A lot of cats.
Yes.
I just
Absolutely.
like off topic. You know what I mean? I just listened to the pivot with Tank Dell on there. That was pretty good. Did you check
Absolutely.
that out?
I actually watched it last night, man. Shout out to Tank Dell. He was one of my favorite players when he was a Cougar. His maturity, you can see, was the thing that came across to me in the interview. That's one of my favorite. I'm a podcast watcher. I have my own podcast. I study podcasts. That's homework for me. So the Pivot is one of my favorite shows. And going to Tank Dell, I think that you see the maturity that he's come out with. Of course, the athleticism and the talent's always been there, but you can see that he's kind of changed his mindset as far as on the field and off the field. He's got some vets around him with the Texans now, and Stephon
Yes.
Diggs. Nico Collins is playing well. The Texans are up and coming. I think that Tank Dell's going to be at the forefront of that. And Sauce Gardner was just, it says it in the name. He's saucy in everything he does. He was a big time player, for the Bearcats, and he's doing wonderful things at the next level. So yeah, I did happen to catch that last night. That's like homework for me. I love those guys. Shout out to the Pivot as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's a great podcast, man. I love it. Love that show. One of my favorites as well, man. And then I got a quick sauce story is when he got recruited. Like my dude was like sound body. It's like in Michigan, and a lot of the top recruits go there or whatnot. And my guy was helping out like the camp or whatnot. And he was like, "Yeah, you seasoned on this kid." And when he committed, he was like all the schools that like were like hesitant to offer, he was like, they messed up. He was like, this kid is like legit. So like before I even saw him, my guy was like, man, Sauce is like super legit, probably gonna be one of y'all best cornerbacks. And lo and behold, like by the middle of the season, he was like that guy already. He probably was like 160 pounds at the time too, which was
Right.
crazy. But that's why
Right.
he didn't get like the like UK, a lot like Michigan, a lot of them were like hesitant on giving him an offer. So,
Right.
you see what's in on him. But yeah,
Right.
it's crazy. It worked out for UC for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we talk about these type of things all the time when it comes to recruiting. You guys are covering, everything in Cincinnati base, but the development piece, you have to kind of let that go. You look at Sauce, and I've seen a couple of interviews with Sauce on the Pivot as well.
Yeah.
He talked about just not being ready at the time.
Yeah.
Athletically he was there, but physically he wasn't.
Yeah.
And over time, as you can see, he started to peak and peak at the right times. He always
Yeah.
had the technical things down when it comes to being a corner. That's probably, I equate this: if you're not a good dancer, you're not going to be a good corner. You know what I mean? Because of the
Yeah.
footwork and the ability to move in space that you have to have. And he's already been a Pro Bowler twice. And he's a young player.
Yeah.
He's thriving, and those things you see that come out later on as you develop. A lot of times with kids, you want them to be good, but if it's better to be great later than good early. When we talk about
Yeah.
youth and things like that. So Sauce Gardner is the upper echelon when it comes to cornerback play, and he was a great Bearcat.
Yeah, for sure. 100%, man. So let's talk about the now. You guys are 1-2, correct?
Yes, sir.
1-2. You guys, I watched when you play Oklahoma. So
Yes.
I didn't expect you guys to bang, like I would say, you slang, bang with Oklahoma like that. y'all went toe to toe and was in the fourth quarter. That game was still tight. I think y'all won by 4, right? Or they won by 4?
Yeah, the score was 16-12, and we talked about this a little bit off camera. I think holding the team to Oklahoma and Jackson Arnold to a score and a couple of field goals is something that the defense can hang their hat on. We're 1-2 on the the record books, but defensively, I think the Cougs are trending in the right direction. Listen to Coach Willie Francis press conference this week. Their defensive identity is starting to come around.
Mm.
They gave up 22 points against UNLV. They gave up a score late against Rice, and to go on the road to Norman is a hostile environment.
Yeah.
And being able to communicate and play well and play fast, that's what you want on defense. They're starting to really come together defensively. I think you saw that this week against Rice, which was more of a heavy ground attack. They got pressure on the quarterback pressures and sacks on Warner, turnovers, interceptions. And then in the special teams game, we got a kick return, punt return for a score. So I think if you're winning in all three phases, that's the thing that the Cougs are really trying to do. And Coach Fritz talked about that this week. And we talked about the emergence of Donovan Smith offensively. Those are the type of things that we have to be successful, especially going into Big 12 play where it's going to amp up a little bit. The competition is going to get better, week to week. And he spoke about this week in his press conference. It's just they implemented in intervals. When they got there and took over the program, they didn't install and throw everything at the wall and watch it fall. They did it gradually, defensively, and now they're kind of getting those guys wet. And really letting them play without having to think so much. Sometimes scheme wise, you can overload a program or overload players, and you want them to play naturally and with speed and be able to tackle well in the open field. I think that these guys really showed that this week. He talked about them having good fundamentals, being good in their stance, and then just teaching them the basics, installing the defense gradually. I think that those guys really showed that. Carlos Allen was a guy that he spoke about that played well here in the last couple of weeks. He spoke about him being a disruptor defensively for the Cougs. So, this is something that we got to take into, Cincy in the opening week of Big 12.
For sure. Cincy, it's been very balanced the first 3 weeks. On it, you said the defensive side of the ball is, definitely ahead of the offense so far. Might be opposite for UC, but honestly, like this game, it's kind of a toss-up game, kind of a flip, 50-50 game. Who's going to, make the least mistakes, stuff like that. Who's going to play better on special teams, who's going to play all better in all three phases. On the defensive side of the ball, who are the guys maybe at each level that the Bearcats need to make sure they're not late on the pass, need to make sure they're chipping on the edge, or is it a double guy they got a double team in the middle? Who do they have to make sure they are game planning around if they want to be successful on Saturday?
Well, we lost a big one in Jawan Gaston with the the targeting penalty. Coach Frisch talked about him this week. Of course, you have to sit out a half. He's a guy that's really been causing some havoc and causing some turnovers defensively. I think we spoke about Carlos Allen being disruptive on the interior, and you have to put pressure on these guys. We spoke about my guy. Shout out to Brendan Sorsby that's playing super, great for you guys right now. We got to get some pressure on him. We got to make him uncomfortable, get him off his spots. The run game, I think, is going to be stopping the run game is going to be important. And I think that Cincinnati showed us against Pitt that they can run the football. It's going to be those are going to be the keys and playing well on third down. We got to get them off the field. McCutcheon's a guy that's been playing well for the Cougs defensively as well. So if we can do those things, stick to our fundamentals, tackle well in the open space, and get the Bearcats off the field on third down, I think we'll be successful.
That's fair. That's super fair. And on the switch to the offensive side of the ball, Smith is a very talented quarterback. Like you said, we talked off camera, new system, senior. Who will have to make plays on Saturday for the offense? Just to give a quick thing on our defense, it's a new defense, new system, 3-3-5. It's Miami. We gave up a lot of passing yards, over 300 yards. I want to say over 350. But the run defense has showed a huge improvement since Pitt. I know you guys are more talented than Miami. So I kind of want to know how you guys, from what you've seen, what you kind of think, where you think they're going to attack this defense.
Well, I think we have to get Donovan Smith comfortable, get him in a good rhythm. Get him some confidence throws early on. And being able to communicate. Since he's allowed place to play. So the communication out on the edges is going to be key. Stephon Boogie Johnson is a guy that I really think they need to get the ball to more. As you can see, when he gets the ball in his hands, he produces. He had a big touchdown in the game against Rice where he broke down the defender, got to the sideline and hit it to the house. Jack's a guy that needs to get the ball more. In the running game, right now we're averaging a little over 100 yards a game. That needs to be something that steps up a little bit. Stacy Sneed's a guy that's been playing well. Coach Fritz knows that. He talked about that in his press conference this week. Jalen Gardner's a guy that's been playing well. We talked about defense. You mentioned
Yeah.
that. Has been playing well defensively. And then Jamarian Barnett's a big physical runner. He's done a great job in picking up his pass protections and starting to run better routes in the passing game. Coach Fritz mentioned him this week as well. I think if we get the job done offensively, we have to spread the ball to our playmakers, get these guys in space, and capitalize. On third downs. Make it 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 instead of 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 8. He also Coach Fritz mentioned the penalties. We've been penalized a lot. Personal fouls. Just kind of getting out of our head when it comes to you know not being disciplined is what he talked about this week. He wants the guys to be more disciplined when it comes to getting penalties because that gets you out of field goal range. And
Yeah.
on special teams, Makai Muse had a 75-yard punt return to the house. He talked about that as well. So playing well in all three phases when the Cougs are dialed in, that's when they're successful. And I know the record says 1-2, but those are some of the positives that you can take out of that 1-2 record. I think you can, kind of wash out the UNLV game and look at the last two games that the Cougs have played, and they've been consistent in what they've done. Getting the win over Rice is I think, something that'll get them rolling in the right direction. But continuity, quick plays, and getting Donovan Smith comfortable early on is, I think, bodes well for the Cougs offensively.
For sure. Yeah, this Fritz, Coach Fritz is definitely familiar playing in Cincinnati, so that's a plus. Um, just in general, you said they broke down the defense, didn't bring install it all in one installment, which was super smart. Like you said, they want those guys to be playing fast, not thinking. When you think you misread or misstep, and then boom, that's a big play. And their defense has been, honestly, since that first game, they look pretty dang good. So, what advantages do you feel like, Fritz being accustomed to playing in Cincinnati, would that provide for you guys on Saturday?
Well, you got to go back to his days at Tulane and playing in big games. These guys were each three of these teams, Tulane, Houston, and Cincinnati, were conference foes for a little while. And he
Yeah.
spoke about that a little bit. He spoke about that this week at his press conference. Going on the road and playing, Cincinnati in Cincy is a tough place to play. I think he wants to bring calmness to the team, and he spoke about their recovery period and how they take things in intervals when they come off a win or they come off a game over the weekend. He spoke about giving those guys off Sunday to kind of refresh and regroup. Monday, they come in for a short practice, work on special teams and situational things, and start to prepare for the week. So I think it's business-like for him. He's really installed that with these guys. I mean, he's only had 3 games with these guys. So
Yeah.
he spoke about this week just learning which players to plug in, and you kind of see that over the last 3 games, of the first 3 games of the season. He's still learning these guys. Now they're kind of plugging and playing guys based on how they performed so far in 3 games. He spoke about some position battles coming out of the spring, in the summer, and in the fall now, and things have started to change. You're starting to see guys emerge, based on how they're performing in the playing time and things like that's changed. So when you look at a coaching staff coming in and having a small sample to be with these guys, he's really starting to mold them. And you can kind of see that in immersion, in the Rice game. It's being consistent. These guys will have to earn their playing time and earn their keep, so to speak. But, back to your question about playing in Cincy, he understands that. He knows what's on the line. He knows this is the first one in the Big 12, and it's a super important game to establish, some continuity. to get ready to go in the Big 12, because each week is going to be a challenge as you continue to go through the Big 12. There's a gauntlet of teams in this league each week, and you have to be ready to play. Going on the road, opening at Cincy is a tough pill, but I think if they really come in, be consistent, follow, like you said, their fundamentals, and do everything scheme wise correctly, I think they really have a shot to go in there and play well at Cincy.
All right, I'm putting your feet to the fire on this one. I know I didn't prep you on this one. So on Saturday, what is your prediction? That's going to your Nippert Stadium prediction.
Well, I think we got to get pressure on the quarterback. Defensively, I think we're playing very well. You got to stop the run first. But Sorsby is a guy, we talked about this a little bit off camera.
Yeah,
He's a guy that can do things athletically that people may not think he can do.
yeah,
He's playing well from what I've seen of him. Having a chance to start and be the guy, I think mentally that's got him going in the right direction.
yeah,
Get pressure on the quarterback, stop the run, no turnovers, keep the penalties low. I think the second half, when we get Gaston back, will really, kind of stabilize that secondary. But, fly to the football. I think that's the big thing that they're preaching defensively. I like the Cougs in a field goal type game.
mm,
I think that they've proven that they can go on the road and play well. They played well in Norman. Holding Oklahoma to 16 points was something that, a lot of us didn't see coming.
yeah,
We're still trying to learn these guys, just like, the coaching staff and Coach Fritz are trying to do. But it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be closer than the experts thinks. I like the Cougs in this one, in a 17-13 game, 20-17, 24-21 type
mm,
game. If we play our game, get the ball to our playmakers and keep the penalties low, I think we got a shot.
yeah. That's fair. And I hope you're wrong, but that's fair. Hope you're wrong.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a happier place when the Bearcats win. That trust
Absolutely.
me, trust me.
Absolutely.
But at least for us on our side of things. But yeah, I
Absolutely.
feel you. So in general, you say Gaskins is out because of the targeting, right? Do you
Right.
have any other guys that are out either per targeting or per injury that may be something that could harm you guys game plan on Saturday?
Well, I think everybody's coming back that needs to be there. They had some guys that got injured. We had a couple ACLs and guys that are out for the season. But for the core guys that played in this last game, everybody's coming back.
Okay.
I think that you really, when you look at the Cougs, it's just about being consistent in what they do. We've talked about this already, but the defense, I think, is really playing well. If you can take a defense on the road and travel and play well, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be successful as a team. We're only giving up uh, 16 points a game, uh, and we're scoring 17. So one of the other, the pendulum's got to swing one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're only giving up 16 points a game defensively, so the offense has to catch up and put some points on the board. I think if you can give us 20 to 24 points offensively, you know statistics showing that we're doing well defensively and we can come out on top. So I think that's the big thing, is just trying to stay consistent and play well on the road. The Big 12's a tough challenge. I think, playing in Cincy is one of the underrated, venues in college football that people don't talk about. Watch college football for a long time, and, back to those Sauce Gardner days, Cincy's a tough place to play. It's a hard place to win. When they get going in that particular stadium, man, it's great. It's fun for college football. So, I think the Cougs got a really puncher's chance to really get this thing going.
So cool, man. On Saturday we will see. We shall see, man. I'm hoping you wrong on that one. And
Absolutely.
y'all can get going next week. Y'all get going next week. But but just I appreciate you taking your time out today, man. Bearcat fans, check this out. Follow my man Mark. But Mark, let everybody know where they can catch your work, where they
Okay.
can follow you on social media,
Absolutely.
and give whatever information, whatever you want to drop right now.
Absolutely, man. You can follow Cougars Den. That's a site dedicated, a rival site dedicated to University of Houston Cougar sports, football, recruiting, everything there. You can follow us at Rivals Houston on Twitter. You can follow me at MarkHen44 on Twitter, on the Mark Sports. Also on the marksports.com. Also, I have the On Your Mark show. It's a podcast like this. that's live every week on Facebook on the Fishbowl Radio Network. So I'm all over the place. You can. It's not hard to find me. I cover recruiting and high school football here in the state of Texas. So I'm usually on a sideline every weekend. Some of the biggest and best. We got some nationally ranked teams here in high school in the state of Texas. So definitely can find me there. But go Coogs. Shout out to Bailey, Josh Butler, and my guy Juan Gonzalez that also work for the site. So check us out, man. We're doing some big things over at Cougars Den, and go Cougs.
Yeah, check him out, man. Guys, check him out. Good dude. And I'm gonna ask one more question.
Sure.
All right. So, are you related to the wrestler Marc
No,
Henry?
I am not. I am not. So he's a big guy that's here, but I spell it Marc. He spells it Mark.
Yeah.
My given name is Marcus, but I go by Mark.
Okay.
Everybody that knows me.
Yeah.
But the way I kind of describe it, because I get this question probably weekly when I bump into new people. I spell it with a C. He's a little bit taller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He probably lifted a little bit more weight than I did when I was playing. So, but yeah, it's a question that comes in all the time. Shout out to Marc Henry, the wrestler, weightlifter. But I spell it with a C, he spells it with a K. That's the only difference, and he's a shade taller. We're gonna bump into each other sooner or later
Got
because
to, man. That's a photo op right there.
his son was a big time. It's a big time, power lifter down here in the state of Texas, and played for one of the programs like Travis. So, we've been kind of running around, and people always ask me that question, but it's a thing where when they hear that, it's Marc Henry the wrestler. I'm like, no, man, it's Mark with a C.
Yeah.
But same lane though.
For sure. But another question:
Sure.
has anybody ever gave you you ever got like a little step up in service because they thought it was thought it was the other
Not
Mark?
yet. I haven't been able to parlay that one yet. Not yet.
I
Not
hope
yet.
that happens for you, brother. I hope that
Yeah,
happens for you.
it's coming, man. Here in the state of Texas, I cover, like I said, cover high school football, so people pretty much know me from that.
Okay.
So I can, I usually get into, a lot of the high schools around the state of Texas, and I cover high school football all the way through the state championship. So it's not uncommon for you to see me on TV, but
Yeah.
I hadn't got that,
Okay.
that luxury seat or that luxury suite because they
Oh,
thought I was Mark Henry yet.
okay. Well, we're gonna put that in the air for you, man. Put that in the universe.
Absolutely, yeah,
Just
absolutely.
that positive A it's on us type of
Yeah,
situation. You know what
waiting
I
on that
mean?
suite, waiting on that prime table in the restaurant. You know how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah. We're gonna put that in the air. You're gonna get in there. They're
Absolutely,
gonna be like, it's on the house, and
it's
you're
on
gonna
and
be in
popping.
there.
Absolutely,
Yep. So I'm putting that in the air. So y'all
absolutely.
just make sure y'all check out Mark, man. The Cougs and UC playing on Saturday at Nippert Stadium at noon. And then now, people on down south, that will be 11 a.m. for us on the East Coast time, 12 noon. Lovely stadium. Me and my crew plan on being there. So make sure you check this out. Our YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to our podcast. I'm JT Smith, and we signing out.
Go Cougs.